and welcome back to Rue's Life. So here I am in the Polytunnel. I can't believe it's February already and it's time for me to show you around the plot and Polytunnel for this month's plot tour. So I hope you enjoy. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what you've got going on at the moment, if anything. And as ever, thank you so much for watching. Take care and I'll see you all again soon. So we'll start off here in the Polytunnel, and in all honesty, not a lot has changed since the January plot and Polytunnel tour. So I've still got pots here. There's a couple of cardboard boxes that need sorting, and some crates and pots all ready for spring. My hanging baskets with some geraniums, and I'm not entirely sure. I think these might be some Sweet William that were in a flower mix that I had last season, and they're still sitting there, so I'll do something with those at some point. It'll be interesting to see what they actually are. I'll just get a bit closer actually. Don't know if the light's brilliant. Any suggestions what they could be? They were in a flower mix and I've no clue what they might be. And then here on the staging, I've still got this mess of pots to sort out. The crane's bill in those three, which I will be keeping, and everything else is to be dumped. Here we've got the purple sprouting broccoli, a cauliflower plant and my cauliflower seedlings. Now, definitely before my next tour, these will have been potted on, and the others will have been planted out. I just haven't got round to it. And then in this long bed here, we've got some good germination on the carrots, and they're just slowly coming along nicely. And then I've got a few rows of turnip. And then at the end here, I've got some Swiss chard and some spinach seedlings. And then across here, I've got some leek seedling and some onions. The door is now completely battened down and bubble wrapped, and that's because we have the mesh here, and also obviously there's the gap down the side of the door frame, and that is just to keep the place a little more frost free and hold in the heat. And then down here, empty pots and a few straggly leek seedlings which I never got round to moving on. I might give them a chance, or they may end up on the compost heap. So that's pretty much all that's going on here in the Polytunnel. Let's go outside and have a look at the plot. So my rhubarb, we've got little bits of rhubarb sprouting, which is great. And then over here in this fruit bed, obviously there's nothing changed there. It needs a bit of a weed. Strawberry plants down that end, and the raspberry canes, which are the autumn fruiting variety, at this end. And those, as I've mentioned before, were plants that were given to me last season, so they haven't fruited yet, and I'm hoping to have a successful season this season and to be harvesting raspberries come the autumn time. And then the rest of the plot, if I just stand backwards, I have completely topped up all of my bark pathways, and there will be a video to come about the bark and where I got it from, but I'm absolutely thrilled with that. So the pathways are looking great. This bed is empty apart from some chives here. Let's go and take a closer look. So there's no new growth on those yet, but I am hoping that underneath the ground we've got some roots and we'll get some growth on those. So nothing else in that bed. Here we've got my celery, which I know it's not supposed to overwinter, but I've had great success over the last couple of years with it. So this is from last season and I've overwintered it. And as you can see, it's looking really healthy. Then we've got the onion bed. The onions are coming along really well. And I've got two varieties. I've got radar and electric. And then finally in the brassica bed, there's nothing at this end, but just at the far end you can see I still haven't harvested those Brussels sprouts, so I will either leave them on the plant and just harvest them when we want to eat them, or I may just actually harvest the whole lot and get them in the freezer. You can see this plant is starting, they're all getting a bit wobbly, hence the canes, but that one's toppled over. So I might just prop that up while we're out here. There we go. So yeah, really pleased with the sprouts this year, and still lots of pickings there. Then over to the squash bed. As mentioned before, I have just cut and allowed those to drop, and I'm just going to mulch those into the ground. And there are a few weeds in that bed as well, which I need to address. And the squash frame is going to need some attention, because there's a few of the canes, as you can see, that have taken a bit of a battering in all these storms we keep getting. So I'm looking forward to having an hour or so where I get out, and one of my jobs will be to sort out that frame ready for the season ahead. Still haven't harvested these leeks. I keep saying I'm going to, but again, they're better in the ground than pulled and wasting. So I've either got to pull them up and use them when I pull them, or again, as with the sprouts, I may have a day where I've got time and I will actually get those out and process them and freeze them. The Rudbeckia here, we've got little bits of green leaf coming at the bottom, and I'm looking forward to splitting that and creating more plants, which I will pop into my newest bed. So I've just moved down to the bottom because the sun's decided to come out and the shadows are all wrong. And this is my new bed, which is going to be my dedicated flower bed. And then if I just come back up to the top, so you can see there's a little bit of a gap here between the two beds, and my plan is to do the same with that as I have around my other beds, and that's to have bark pathways. So this little bit of log here will be coming out, and this path will extend with the bark chip right the way along the edge of the polytunnel and actually up the side of that poly as well. So the whole thing will be weed suppressant and bark. And then obviously another pathway here along the back there and around the edge of this bed. And then again, as I've mentioned before, this will become a decking or patio area. And there we've got the shed. I hope you can see that. The light's just in the wrong place. So let's move around. There we are. I've moved the bird feeder. Again, I've mentioned that in previous videos, over here rather than in the garden, because it was close to the chicken area. And I wanted to encourage the wild birds away from the chickens and over here to the plot. So that is pretty much what's going on here in February.